Hey folks, welcome back. So, we've got major developments in the Epstein investigation today. No spin, no conspiracies. This is real congressional level fallout that just blew the lid off of decades of elite protection. And yes, Donald Trump is right in the blast radius. Let's unpack it. Today, the House Oversight Committee, led by Republicans, mind you, subpoenaed the DOJ for everything they've got on Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. Not just that, they're also demanding depositions from Bill and Hillary Clinton 6, former attorneys general, 2 former FBI directors, and other top officials. Look, I'm a liberal. I don't care what party you are. If you were tied to Epstein, if you were complicit, you deserve to be investigated, period. But let's not pretend this sudden moral crusade is pure. This push didn't come from a place of truth-seeking. It's about deflection, and we know it. Because here's what the right won't say. Trump's name is all over the Epstein timeline too. From partying with him in Palm Beach to defending him in the press, we know the photos, we've seen the quotes. And now, with the heat turning up, they want to shift the target. Classic. Trump and his team are scrambling. Last week, he tried to sue the Wall Street Journal over Epstein coverage, demanding Rupert Murdoch testify immediately. Today, he backed off. Delay tactics. You don't retreat like that unless you know the legal ground you're on is shaky. And let's be honest, this isn't about protecting victims. It's about protecting himself. Trump called an MSNBC host a racist sleazebag for even bringing up the Epstein scandal. He went on Fox News and dismissed the whole thing as a deep state distraction. That's not the behavior of an innocent man. That's the behavior of someone who's terrified of discovery.
The new letters coming out from the victims of sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein, who are concerned in a different way than so many people who view this case as a political controversy or online content or many of the other ways that it has mushroomed. These are the people who lived through it, the victims and their families. And they say the Trump Justice Department is putting convicted pedophiles and sex traffickers above the victims. We're going to start right here, and I'm just going to read to you what they're saying. Quote, I feel like the DOJ and FBI priority is protecting the third party, the wealthy men, focusing on scrubbing their names off the files. That's a reference to the reporting about the benefits Donald Trump himself and others may have gotten, of which the victims know who they are. They continue, quote, to learn that our own president has utilized thousands of agents to protect his identity. And these high-profile individuals is monumentally mind-blowing. That's their focus. Wow. The reports are how Donald Trump famously put Epstein conspiracy theorists and other sort of podcasters in charge of the FBI. And remember, the reporting is they spent a lot of time and energy going through the material. And while some of them may have said or claimed they wanted to do that to then release it, remember, nothing's been released. That's why he's accused of a cover-up. But we do have reporting that they also used that time to shield various names. So remember, if you're keeping track of what has been a sordid political story, a lot of the people who claim to care about this story for justice, to go after bad guys like Epstein and his conspirator Maxwell, are now aligned with a government that's doing the opposite, shielding people, giving more secrecy to Maxwell and of course, the deceased Epstein, because while he's gone, the information could still come out and matter to people. And on top of all that, the administration going into the weekend gave leniency to the only incarcerated conspirator.
But here's the most important part of this story, and the part everyone should be centering. 2 anonymous Epstein survivors sent letters to a judge begging not to be dragged into the political theater. Their words? We are not pawns in your political warfare. Let that sink in. They're scared. They're angry. And they have every reason to be. Because now both parties, yes, even some Democrats out there playing tug of war with their trauma. The survivors want accountability. They want truth. But they don't want to be doxxed, humiliated, or thrown into headlines so someone can score points in an election year. We owe it to them to get this right, not through political stunts, through real, transparent, survivor-centered justice. Let me say this clearly. If Bill Clinton did wrong, investigate him. Same for Hillary. Same for anyone tied to Epstein. I don't care what side of the aisle they're on. We don't protect predators. But if you're only demanding justice when it gives your party a talking point, you're not seeking truth. You're just manipulating trauma. That's what Republicans are doing right now. They're waving these subpoenas around, screaming about elites, but refuse to talk about the elite they crowned king, Trump.
I think there's a political coup going on right now in the Republican Party that people aren't paying attention to.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I think that this Epstein thing is going to be a way for traditional conservatives to take their party back. This is the issue that has gotten the base riled up The MAGA base isn't letting this issue go. And for the first time, they know they can, probably take their party back and not piss off the MAGA base. I think they're going to do that.
That's Charlamagne's take. As for who's getting pissed off, well, the president certainly was. He wrote a lengthy diatribe with plenty of personal attacks, going after Charlamagne, calling him names, saying he doesn't know anything about Trump. But the problem goes deeper than just a messenger, so to speak, referring to real evidence out there in a venue that clearly bothered Trump, the Trump hour of Fox there. The wider swath of voters are also concerned. There's new polling out today. 70% of Americans think that there is a client list, and while there may not be, the DOJ claims there isn't. That comes after a long time where Bondi and others literally told everyone there was. More than 60% see Trump as hiding information. That's true. That's the secrecy we've been reporting on. And a whopping 81% blame Trump for the way that the administration or others are hiding the info. In other words, the dance that we hear politicians sometimes do apparently isn't working on most of the public. 81% includes a heck of a lot of Trump voters.
Okay, folks, buckle in. Because what started as a casual comment from Charlamagne Tha God on Fox News just blew the lid off Donald Trump's Epstein hypocrisy, and America is finally paying attention. Charlamagne didn't scream, didn't point fingers. He simply said something that should terrify Trump's team. This Epstein mess might be MAGA's breaking point. Trump promised to release the files. He didn't, and the base isn't forgetting. That's it. That's the line that triggered Trump's full-scale meltdown. And how did Trump respond? With maturity? With facts? Of course not. He took to Truth Social and called Charlamagne a racist sleazebag, low IQ individual, and questioned why he has The God in his name. This is a former president, folks, acting like a washed-up reality show villain. Let's be clear, Charlamagne never brought up race. He didn't slander, he just called out Trump's cowardice. And now we're watching a fragile ego spiral because someone had the guts to tell the truth on Fox News of all places. Charlamagne didn't back down either. On The Breakfast Club, he fact-checked Trump's wild claims, like ending 5 wars or wiping out Iran's nukes, and said, "I'm not against Trump, I'm for accountability." And here's where it gets really bad for Trump. According to a new national poll released today by Public Signal Research, 63% of Americans, including 43% of Republicans, believe Trump is intentionally hiding Epstein-related information. What is Trump protecting? People are putting 2 and 2 together. He was friends with Epstein. He's in the flight logs. He made promises. And now he's going quiet. Charlamagne didn't start this fire. Trump did, by protecting the powerful and mocking the truth. Every time Epstein's victims get closer to justice, the political class panics. Charlamagne simply called that out. And if you're watching this thinking, well, maybe Trump had nothing to hide, then ask yourself, why did he promise transparency and deliver silence? If Biden pulled this, we'd be on his neck too. Charlamagne's right. The GOP is cracking. The MAGA base is waking up, and Trump's refusal to come clean about Epstein isn't going away. This poll proves it. America is watching, and we're done pretending Epstein's ties to the elite are just conspiracies. We want truth, and we want it now.
Top Republicans are also concerned about that story going into the weekend, where this administration, which rode a wave of outrage over Epstein, is now giving leniency to his only incarcerated conspirator, Maxwell. So she was moved to that minimum security prison. Epstein victims were outraged. Why, of anyone in the entire prison system, in their view, should this convicted sex trafficker who worked with Epstein get leniency right now, get a nicer prison environment, which, by the way, if you're a prisoner, that's one of the biggest major changes in your life you can get other than getting sprung out, is getting to a better, sometimes safer prison. She got to a minimum security facility that under DOJ rules, people convicted of her crimes shouldn't even be allowed to be in, which makes it very suspicious.
Donald Trump is now openly entertaining the idea of pardoning Ghislaine Maxwell. Yeah, that Ghislaine Maxwell, the convicted child sex trafficker and Jeffrey Epstein's longtime accomplice. Trump was asked directly about pardoning Maxwell, and instead of shutting it down, he said, and I quote, "I have the right to do it. Nobody has asked me, but I could." He called it inappropriate to talk about, but then spent the next minute talking about it anyway. Let me be clear, this wasn't a denial, it was a message, a signal, a soft trial balloon to see how the public and the media would react if he floated the idea. He knows he has the power to pardon her. What he wants is the political space to do it without consequences. Let's remember who we're talking about. Ghislaine Maxwell was convicted of grooming and trafficking underage girls, children, for Jeffrey Epstein and his elite network of powerful men. This wasn't just about Epstein. This was a whole system of abuse protected by money, by institutions, and by silence. And if Maxwell talks, a lot of powerful names could be exposed. So ask yourself, why would Trump even entertain pardoning her? What's the upside? What's the motive? Why now when she's suddenly willing to cooperate, but only in exchange for immunity or a pardon? The family of Virginia Giuffre, then one of the bravest Epstein survivors, Bakir, has already come out begging Trump not to do this. They called Maxwell a monster and said any pardon would be a deep betrayal of justice. They're right. This isn't just political, it's personal for the victims. They lived through unimaginable trauma, and now they're being told the woman who helped traffic them could just walk away if it's politically convenient? Are we serious? Even within the GOP, reactions are split. House Speaker Mike Johnson said Maxwell's crimes were unspeakable and that a pardon would give him great pause. But others, they're not so sure. Republican Thomas Massie said if she testifies before Congress, then maybe she should be pardoned. Excuse me? So now we're openly suggesting clemency in exchange for silence or selective testimony? And then there's the media. MSNBC's Lawrence O'Donnell pointed out that Trump might wait until his last day in office to do it, just like he did with Bannon, because that way the outrage fades and he avoids accountability. Let's not pretend this is out of character for Trump. This is the same man who wished Maxwell well during his presidency. The same guy who was photographed with Epstein and Maxwell multiple times. The same man whose name keeps popping up in documents and depositions, even if his defenders want to pretend it's all fake news. Now he's in a position to protect her, and if she knows things that could hurt him, a pardon isn't just a favor, it's self-preservation. If you or I trafficked minors, we'd never see daylight again. But if you're a billionaire's accomplice, suddenly the former president might give you a get-out-of-jail-free card. The DOJ has until August 19th to hand over the Epstein files to Congress. The judge is expected to decide by August 8th whether those grand jury transcripts, the ones survivors are worried about, will be unsealed. Testimonies from the Clintons, former AGs, and others are set to begin later this month. And make no mistake, this is just the beginning. Once these depositions start rolling, there's no telling who gets exposed or how far this web goes. So here's where I land. If you care about justice, real justice, stay focused on the victims, not the headlines, not the talking points. The survivors are the only reason we're even having this conversation today, and we owe them more than sound bites. And to everyone still blindly defending Trump or Clinton or any of these politicians, ask yourself, what are you protecting and why? Thanks for listening. Stay loud, stay clear-eyed, and keep fighting for truth, even when it's uncomfortable.